Hi, YouTube. I think we go almost 2 full hours today. Close to it as we predict the season. Like, subscribe, enjoy, all that stuff. Jack, tell them something.
Comment
your national champion.
National championship team.
All right. Bye. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Does everybody know college football today? Everybody feel good about their college football knowledge?
No. Yes. Is this a trick question?
No. Just making sure everybody's in the mindset they need to be in.
I mean, it's week 1. Why wouldn't we be?
I don't know.
Are you in the right mindset?
I heard some of y'all, instead of watching week 0 games, y'all went out and played bocce ball.
Huh?
Who played bocce ball?
I don't know. I'm just trying to make up something that you guys didn't watch week 0. I loved week 0.
Should I call you Nate or something? You want to just keep it going?
No. You got mad at me that was a flippant comment when I was like, she looked like she didn't like it. But
I didn't get mad at you.
Huh?
By the way, you did. I talked to Katie about this. You did something to me that you should never do.
What?
Do not text me to go read stuff about myself on the internet.
Okay. Well, I just saw what I said was I was on the Kirk show, which is a terrible show, and I was there, and they said who was pissed about their jokes last night. And I said, well, Casey looked pissed, and then the internet took it like 200 comments later. They're like, Casey was pissed. That was a flippant comment.
So also, I will admit I had a little bit of wine, and I was more confused because you can roast my life for a lot of things. Me not doing anything is crazy. Like that makes no sense. But I will say, what you did to me was basically walking up to one of these homeless people on the corner in Manhattan and say, heroin's right in front of you. Please don't do it. That's what you did to me. And then I just felt like shit for the rest of the day.
I do that a lot, though. I go up to homeless people with various manner of drugs.
I was not actually mad. I mean, the Nate dog was let off the leash. If I had a complaint, I would say roast me about I don't know, my mental health, being.
I go up to Jack
sometimes
and I'm like, hey, here's this 4chan thread. I don't know. You want to look at it?
Oh,
That's just an insane thing to say.
Why is that insane?
Because it's just I don't go on 4chan. I've never gone on 4chan.
What is 4chan?
Why are y'all so serious today?
Don't gaslight me. I was playing along. You can't gaslight me into like, oh, you're being way too serious. Stop being sensitive.
Well, that's what he did to me too. He gaslit.
No, he's gaslighting me.
He gaslit the internet into thinking I was actually mad when you and I didn't even talk about it.
Also, I was playing along there. I said I haven't been on 4chan. It's an impossible.
You weren't playing along. You said that's an insane thing to say.
I
mean, it is an insane thing to say. That doesn't
mean.
Is that
like a Trump thing?
What's the one that the far right nuts are on? Is it QAnon? What's QAnon?
I'm not gonna answer because then I'll like expose myself too much. No, QAnon is essentially a 4chan board where the same person posts that is known as Q, that is somebody that's within the government that knew that the government was working against Trump.
I'm gaslighting you into explaining what these
yeah,
things
and
are.
now people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, how does Jack back?" But it's a known thing. But Q is you don't really post on QAnon. It's Q does.
But I wasn't gaslighting before.
Yes, you did.
Now you are.
That's like saying, "Why are you so emotional about that?" When you just had a normal response. Like, no, you can't gaslight me into feeling a certain way.
That's what the internet will do. That, Brandon. I know. I saw a tweet, a college football tweet of yours that was a great gaslighting tweet that I was very much behind.
What was that?
The worst Power 5 school, and you did a poll. And
Northwestern, Virginia, Stanford, or Arkansas.
I mean,
fantastic.
But
it's just taking candy
the fact
from a baby.
Rutgers wasn't on there or Vanderbilt.
I didn't have room. I had to get those 4. Those are the big 4 of shitty teams.
That is true.
It's just, I mean, it's phenomenal. The reactions, they just never stop entertaining me ever.
All right.
Should we
Katie,
talk?
Anything to talk about?
Week 0?
Okay.
Arizona State?
Let's go. All right. Hello. Welcome. Unnecessary Roughness College football. College football season has started. We've got games to talk about in the past. We got games and stuff to talk about in the future. We got idiots to come in here and go on their unhinged rants about their team that nobody will care about in 3 weeks. But before we get to all of that, Casey's got something to tell you.
Let's talk about high noon. So I am on an email chain of people that I went to college with that now do a tailgate in College Station. And I'm just like, I'll never be able to go, but I just wanted to be a part of it. Like, I didn't want the FOMO. So, like, I never get to go because I'm working. However, I'm a part of the chain, and they sent out the first A&M tailgate email chain for this upcoming weekend. And in the email, it was talking about how, you know, you bring your own different kind of booze, but we will have high noon. And I sent my friend a text message, and I was like, I am so proud. I'm beaming. And he asked me, he was like, so should I get the tequila? And I was like, yeah, because there are going to be people at the tailgate that I know personally that drink tequila and like it better than vodka.
You're going there?
No, I'm saying that they should get it. He was asking me, like, should I bring it? And I was like, yeah, you should.
Wait, sorry. I heard your husband, and I was like, when did that happen? But then...
Did I say husband? I think I said friend.
Okay, but...
Jack's hearing husband.
But, no, get both, vodka and tequila.
Yes, so...
As long as the peach.
Well, that's what I said. I was like, make sure you have the peach. And then he also did not know there were the big boys, the tall boys. So
the tall boys.
I told them to get that. The cans. Also exciting in regards to high noon. We're officially shooting the fall pre-roll for high noon this week, which means that the tailgate game day pack. I never get it right. Which one is it?
I'm honestly...
Game day pack. It's out. Doesn't matter. High noon. All the tailgates are happening. If you're sitting at home, you're watching games all day. If you're squeezing out the last few minutes of summer this weekend before Labor Day, go get high noon vodka, high noon tequila, the peach. Tall boy is my favorite. Drizly, liquor stores, convenience stores, highnoonsunsips.com. You know the drill. And Brandon.
Yeah.
We talked about this before.
Yep.
Week 0 happened. And obviously we're going to talk about the games itself. But my God, those extra 2.5 hours that we had to wait for on Sunday or on Saturday. And I know the games, you know, overall were not great. There was really only 2 games that I think technically mattered. And then the Notre Dame Navy game was over immediately. Having to wait till 2:30 in week 0 was awful. It was awful.
Let me tell you a life hack that I've discovered. Okay.
Oh,
and
boy.
This is my personal
Can't wait
life.
for this one.
None of you have employed this life hack, but I encourage you to do so if you have this chance. God's time zone is the central time zone, okay? The Eastern time zone for a college football fan is bullshit. You don't understand how big of a difference that 2:30 to 1:30 really was. And this Saturday, when games are kicking off at 11 o'clock instead of noon, that hour is so fucking important. Like, I get games at 11 o'clock instead of noon, and I'm so damn happy about that. So that's my life hack. I didn't have to wait till 2:30. I had to wait till 1:30, which wasn't great, but it was fine. So I enjoyed it.
It is much easier to wait only till 1:30, but the life hack also reverses on you there because normally you wouldn't have to wait until noon. You'd only be waiting till 11. It just... the fact that we had to wait at all. And I had some morons tweeting at me like, well, where did you want them to do? It's in Dublin. And I'm like, well, that wasn't the only game that was on. Give me the worst game of the day that starts at noon. When ESPN switched from game day, which I actually was watching because we weren't on the road, we didn't have a show, switched over to high school football. Like, no disrespect to high school football, but what are we doing? Like, put on a college game.
I'm going to come out and say it. I don't plan on watching game day once this year.
Oh,
I don't think I've really watched game day in a while, outside of maybe there's some viral clips. I don't plan on watching game day at all. And I just wanted to. I probably won't watch it.
That's fair. That is fair. Jack is the one exemption.
I can't tell where Jack's coming from today.
What do you mean?
I just you're not going to watch any college football shows now?
No, I watch Josh Pate. I watch Cover 3. I watch
Brandon's walking away
I watch
already.
a Colin Wilson and Stuckey at the Action Network. They're good. I listen to college football shows. I'm not watching game day. It's just like, why?
I don't listen to music anymore when I'm in the gym.
Oh, okay.
Podcasts are the way to go.
I'm not a big music person either.
It depends on the mood I'm in. I will say, though, is the only time I was watching game day because, and I also don't watch our show. Like, let me get that straight. Like on Saturdays, if we've recorded it and taped it earlier, like I'm not rewatching our show. I'm only doing it for like clips. But I did watch it this week. I wanted to see how Pat McAfee fit. I wanted to see what the differences were. And then I also always want to see the predictions. Like I tuned in the last 30 minutes. I didn't watch the whole show, but I wanted to see what their predictions were. I think Desmond did a much better job this year than he did last year. Much better job. Didn't pick A&M this year. But then I do love when they always toss to like the whatever broadcast is going to be. And it was such a letdown that it was like, and here we go to this game. And it was two guys that openly said, yeah, college football's today, but we're at this high school game. It was just like, come on, week 0's got to have some more pop to it.
Okay, so we'll talk week 0, and then we will the little bit of news. Obviously, we'll preview the bulk of week 1 on. We'll record on Wednesday and drop it probably Wednesday night, maybe Thursday morning. But we'll do that, and then we got some Barstool fans coming to share their predictions for their teams. We have an Ohio State fan, a TCU fan, which I don't know why we're running that back. Nobody's going to care about that team this year. And then who's the other one?
Travy.
The Alabama fan.
Oh, an Alabama fan. Yeah, that'll be fun. In fact, when you talked about Casey, the predictions on game day, the screenshot of all 3 or all of them picking Alabama to win the SEC was a little crazy to me. I understand picking Alabama to win the SEC, like I get it, but everybody on that show picked Alabama. Like nobody picked the 2-time defending national champ to run it back in the SEC.
Yeah, that one was weird. And also, and I'm saying this realizing that people accuse Barstool of doing this, where they're like, oh, you guys plan stuff and we don't, or you guys talk about it and we don't, and things just happen. But when Pat McAfee and Kirk Herbstreit picked the exact same predictions for the college football playoff, which was Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, and Georgia, which that could happen, don't get me wrong, but it was also just like both SEC teams, both Big Ten teams. It just seemed very crazy to me. I'm not saying they're lying, because I don't believe that. Kirk Herbstreit would never lie. But that was bizarre. And all of them picking Alabama was
bizarre. I think those are fucking ridiculous predictions. I think.
But it could happen.
Josh Pate picked Alabama to win the national championship.
Yeah, that's fine. But could it happen? Could it happen?
Penn State.
Sure,
Yes.
it could happen, but
it's
the
not, yeah.
likelihood of 2 conferences, it's rare for one conference to get 2 teams. The likelihood of 2 conferences getting 2 teams is infinitesimal. Like it
is. And the fact that we're not talking about a year where there aren't like clear storylines in those other 3 conferences where you could see a team, like depending on who you think is going to win the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is stacked with quarterbacks, so it's like, what's going to happen to them? The Big 12, I think a lot of people are very high on Texas, and then Florida State and Clemson in the ACC. So it was very bizarre to me, and I don't know if we're picking it today or the next episode, but I'm having a crisis over my college football playoff picks.
It's a good way to guarantee you get at least 2 in the 4.
Yeah,
because probably, there's
that's a good point. Percentages.
It's if you're playing that game, but I would rather have some fun with my playoff than not. But that being said, the likelihood of that is low. But I mean, I guess if you saw it playing out, you would see the Pac-12 eating themselves, which happens before. Texas being good, but more 10-2 good. Then the ACC eats themselves. Maybe Florida State wins the conference after losing to Clemson and LSU, but they're 10-2, and then are 11-2, and then you just have those 2 out there in both conferences. I could see it, but it's a low probability.
It is very low.
Well, do y'all want to rip off the Band-Aid right off the top and just knock out our playoffs?
Let's do it.
Casey, you said you're having trouble coming up with yours.
I'm having a crisis. I truly am. Well, it's not trouble. It's if we were sitting in this room or wherever last week at this time and making our predictions, I would have had my 4 solidly in hand. The problem is I saw one of my teams that I thought I would put in the college football playoff play on Saturday. Yes.
USC.
And after watching that game, now obviously they ended up winning 56-28. And Caleb Williams had a Caleb Williams day and still had almost 300 yards. And there's all these offensive weapons. Watching that defense in the first half against San Jose State, and I understand they didn't roll out anything special. Now I'm sitting here having a crisis. Like, do I still stick with that after watching the way that they played in week 0? Because I have my other 3 teams. I know who my other 3 teams are solidly. But I was having a crisis all day today. Like, do I just stick with my gut from a week ago? Or do I switch it up? And I still don't know which. I've got 2 lists in front of me right now. Do I go with pre-week 0 or post-week 0?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned week 0 because I really am not going to overreact to USC. The defense looked bad, but whatever. They're going to score 55 points a game. And we'll see. We'll see about USC. I'm going to put them to the side. And I don't think this is an overreaction, but I do think coming out of week 0 that Notre Dame is one of the very most important teams in the country this year. They beat Navy 42-3. Is Navy a good football team? Almost certainly not. But how do you need to see Notre Dame treat Navy to be convinced they're a really good team. They're a playoff caliber team. Exactly the way they did it.
Mhm.
They just ruthlessly went up and down the field every time they had the ball. They could run it, they could throw it. They got a quarterback. Listen, this isn't watching Navy and deciding Notre Dame has a quarterback. This is watching Sam Hartman for 3 years and knowing that he is now at Notre Dame. We'll have to see if their receivers are good enough. Their receivers were just okay. But Notre Dame is one of the most important players in the playoff race because they play so many other playoff contenders. They play Ohio State in South Bend. They play Clemson. They play USC in South Bend. Like USC, who's frankly not that tough of a football team and just gave up 400 yards and 200 on the ground, San Jose State, is going to have to go into South Bend and stop Estime, that incredible running back, and stop Hartman, that great quarterback. Like Notre Dame is going to be in the mix. Whoever makes the playoff is going to have to deal with Notre Dame in some way or some way. 3 playoff contenders have to play them. So
they could be a really good 9-3 team if that makes I think
a great 9-3 team,
and they could be a top 10, arguably top 6 9-3 team. If you could see a scenario where they lose 3 really close games in those 3, but also, I mean, I would feel pretty good going into those 3. They pick one of those off. I mean, I don't want to overreact too much, but there is a value in those low-level games like that where you go in there and you take care of business and you look good doing it. They did that, and you have to give them credit. I know I casted some doubt on the offensive coordinator coming into the year. We'll have to see some more, obviously, but week 0, they did what they had to do, and that's a really impressive thing to do. Because, look at USC. They didn't do what they had to do. They did. They won by 28 points. But, right. I mean, the totals in their games are going to be 85 before we know it.
Knowing the template to beat Ohio State, right? Knowing how Michigan does it, they just gut them from the inside. They just pound and pound and pound until the bridge breaks. That's how Notre Dame is built. Like they've got 5 running backs they can give the ball to, and their lead guy's a goddamn bowling ball. Like they're built to make it tough on Ohio State. So they're going to be absolutely a key team to watch.
And that wide receiver, what was his name? Greathouse?
Jaden Greathouse from Texas.
I mean, that kid's – and then one of the running backs, a freshman too, which this was a really good class, Marcus Freeman, which is credit to him. And we also saw another freshman on Saturday night just go completely.
Oh my God!
But I
Zach
mean,
Branch
but
was...
Zachariah and this goes to show that recruiting is like.
Here we go.
But I mean, he was the number 4.
Yeah.
Like people were like, oh my God, look at this freshman. But the number 4 recruit doesn't always start off like that. He did, and he was unbelievable.
Well, the number 4 recruit might not always start off like that because they probably don't have a quarterback like Caleb Williams to throw to him.
Yeah.
I mean that, and we'll talk all about
that. He
that.
also returned a kick for a touchdown.
Yeah. Oh no, he had like over 300.
And he's also
yards.
Looks like he's the fastest human being.
200,
I think at 230 or so.
So it was closer. It felt like 300. So first of all, it is our God-given right to overreact in week 0. And I know I've been mixing it up with Notre Dame fans because of the hyperbole stuff, but in reality, and I wrote this down, like my biggest overreaction to week 0 is not USC, and we'll talk about that with the college football playoff, but is that again, overreaction maybe, but I don't think it's that crazy, is that I think that Sam Hartman could potentially be the answer to Notre Dame's national woes. And when I say national woes, I mean the way that they have performed when they get to the college football playoff or in the national championship in the last decade. They've not been able to take that next step for whatever reason. They're not a bad football team. They're obviously one of the great college football programs. The way Sam Hartman looked against Navy, who is, yes, they're slower, they're smaller, they're not as well coached, and that's fine. But Sam Hartman threw to like 8 different receivers. They obviously have Estime, but Sam Hartman was that experienced vet that they needed in that game, and his ability to change things up pre-snap, like you could tell that because it was a lot slower. They were playing Navy. Now, when they play these big boys, he won't have that time to do that, and I get that, but he looked like the guy that could take Notre Dame to that next level of saying, okay, we're going to be good, we're going to play these other teams, but if we get to that national stage, we're not going to look like shit.
And he's also played in big games against big teams. Clemson, which, by the way, I keep saying wrong. I ranked my top 10 Colts on TikTok, and I said Clemson as one of them, and I said, everyone's like, why are you pronouncing it that way? But Clemson.
You know why they corrected you?
Why?
Because they're a cult.
Because they're
a goddamn cult.
But I hope. By the way, Texas. My top 5 was Texas A&M, Penn State, Clemson, and then I had I had High Point at, I think, 7, but at 5, I think I had Auburn, who doesn't get enough credit for being a Colt. I could have thrown Arkansas in there, but I didn't want to get too crazy. All that being
Auburn is the biggest cult outside of A&M in the SEC.
Yes, 100%. And
Also,
you guys taught me that, so I just wanted to give you guys credit and thank you for that.
Oh, well, you're welcome. Were any of those schools like happy that you ranked them there?
You guys, the Texas A&M fans are happy they're a cult these days. It's not even fun to say that.
No, it's not. It's because you just have to be self-aware. And if you
it's a great way to kill.
If you don't think that A&M is a cult, you're not paying attention.
But I will say, Hartman has played. It's not like this is not to call out Grayson McCall, but Grayson McCall hasn't played against the highest level of competition. Sam Hartman's played against pretty high competition. The ACC is not the SEC, but I mean, it's not like he's just an FCS quarterback who came in.
Can I have a quick gay moment, real quick?
Yeah. Oh, gay moment. Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say, so go for it.
He looked good as hell in that uniform.
Told you.
He was handsome as fuck. Did y'all see how good he looked in that uniform?
He needs a haircut, but yes.
When Katie said
he's
that
like
in the group
25. I mean,
which, by the way, Katie, I got called out because I was telling my boyfriend when we were watching the game that what you and I were talking about. He was like, "Why are you and Katie so horny right now?" Because I was saying that like that was a great coaching matchup when you talk about attractive levels. I mean, Marcus
Freeman's a really good looking.
And
guy.
then
that Navy coach with that fucking salty beard?
So hot.
You thought he was hot?
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my! I didn't even think
he
about
had
that.
big time DILF energy.
What a dignified looking guy that was.
You didn't think that guy was good looking? What's his name?
No,
Why am I forgetting what his name is right now?
Because he's Navy's head coach.
Yeah, but he's new this year. I know. I texted Katie immediately. I was like, "Yo, this guy is attractive."
Brian Newberry.
Great looking guy.
Freeman's also a good looking guy.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm like. A great coaching matchup.
That wraps up this episode of Gay Unnecessary Roughness.
Gayness?
Unnecessary gayness.
There's just no way you think that guy's hot.
Well, he had a hat on.
Dignified.
I got
hat
fished.
He's not hot, Casey. He's not hot. He's too old to be hot.
Oh my God! Look up at the picture. No, first of all, George Clooney, old, hot as fuck. What are you talking about?
That's George Clooney.
Okay, but men get better with age.
That is true. We do have that on you guys.
I can testify that is not true.
It depends on the guy, but men get better with age.
No, typically, yes.
Like you take like a good-looking dude that takes care of himself in his 20s and look at him in his like 30s and 40s. Normally he's going to be better looking.
Also, women just have always liked older men. Like
I'm telling you, that guy with a hat on, DILF energy. Sam Hartman, not my cup of tea necessarily, but he did look nice.
Do you guys see the one thing that did not happen during the Notre Dame game?
What?
Tight ends. There was no tight ends targeted, not used in the game plan. Just it's the Michael Mayer days at Notre Dame are done.
Here's one thing that Notre Dame,
they've produced so many great tight ends.
Yeah.
One advantage Notre Dame had that nobody talked about. The reason the triple option hurts teams and the hardest thing about it is it's different from every other week of preparation. When you play them in the middle of the season, you go from playing these spread offenses to all of a sudden you're defending the triple option, and it throws everything out of whack, and it's hard to be prepared. Notre Dame had months and months and months to prepare for the triple option. And while they gave up certain runs, they hold them to 150 yards rushing, like they dominated them because they studied it week in, week out for since May. So I think that was an advantage nobody talks about. Plus, they're just a lot better man-to-man than Navy. But I
also don't think Navy is going to be that bad of a team.
No, they're going to be bad.
Like, really bad?
Yeah, I think they're going to be
500?
No, I think they're going to be I'd be shocked if they make a bowl game.
Well, can I just say this? It shows you how useless a lot of preseason chatter is. Because a couple of weeks ago, I tweeted out that Notre Dame's going to kill Navy, and somebody said, Brandon, Navy doesn't run the triple option anymore. They're going to throw the ball this year. It's like, okay. Yeah, that certainly looked like a fucking run and shoot team the other day, running the triple option.
Did Rico tweet that at you?
I know. This was
weeks ago.
I know because
the Pick'em take.
Rico and Pick'em said they're going to throw the ball around, and they threw the ball. I mean, they threw the ball once, and the wide receivers ran into each other. There was another one when the guy was wide open. And I feel bad for the Navy quarterback, but the little 5'8" quarterback couldn't throw the ball more than 35 yards.
This is going to be
that showed you they haven't practiced the passing game. They got receivers running into each other like they hadn't practiced it.
Well, and like I said with the Notre Dame take is that, Notre Dame is just, anything that you can be better at, Notre Dame is. They're faster, stronger, bigger, better coached, obviously a more talented team, better recruits, the whole thing. I don't think Navy's going to be that bad. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be good, but I think they could go 500. That game was just everything played
We
in
may
Notre
look
Dame's
back
favor.
on Navy and just be like, this team's bad. We may go into the Army Navy and be like, man, this team was really bad.
Well,
this
that's
year.
also
We're
very,
gonna lose
very
a major
fair.
war because of this. Yeah.
Yeah, we could. No, yeah. Navy's getting soft. You've seen how they're trying to advertise to get new recruits. I mean, man, they probably don't even have their kids like tackle anymore.
Like, we'll be at Gillette in December, Brandon, and just being like, boy, week 0 told us this is a shit team.
All right. So
They'll pick off somebody though. They'll like beat SMU.
Who's got their playoff 4 ready?
I do.
I do. I have 2 lists, but I'm gonna pick one, I guess.
All right, Casey, you're on the spot right now. Pick your list. Have some fucking stones, man.
No, I mean 3 of my teams are set. It is Michigan, Georgia, Florida State.
Do it. It was one game.
USC.
Yeah, there you go.
It was one game and they still won by 30. That defense, I just have question marks. I don't know if we're like, I'll wait till we talk about the USC game because I do want to talk about it a little bit from week 0. But at halftime, I'm sitting there just like, and Brandon, I know you tweeted about Alex Grinch, but I said, I was like, thank God this is on the Pac-12 network so the whole country can't sit here and say this defense hasn't gotten any better. They got better in the second half, but they were playing a mid-level team in the fucking Mountain West. So, all right. College football playoff. Well, maybe a little
14
bit.
in the first half, 14 in the second half. They gave up 200 yards rushing, 200 yards passing.
The defense might not have. The tackling did look a little bit better in the second half.
I will say, I mean, they won 56-28.
Right.
If they allow 28 points a game this year, they're 13
Jack, what does 28 against San Jose State translate to against Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and everybody else?
I mean, that's the thing. If Cordero could do that against their defense, and it was week 0, and I get that, but if Cordero could do it, what is like all of the Pac-12 quarterbacks going to do?
They play in the best offensive league in the country.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
No, both of you are bringing up really valid points.
But Jack, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with USC because I feel like I can't cheat myself just for one game, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. And I said I was going to pick them when we talked about the Pac-12. So my official college football playoff predictions: Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, USC. That's it. I gotta go. For the record, if I wasn't going to put USC, I thought about putting Texas. Seeds. Okay. It's going to be number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Michigan. Okay. Number 3, Florida State. Number 4, USC.
All right, I like it. So USC probably will lose at some point, you're saying? Go 12-1?
Yes, I think so. And I also think that, I mean, we say it all the time with the Pac-12, there will be some sort of eating each other, some sort of cannibalization.
Interesting.
Cannibalization.
Cannibalism.
I was trying to do the zation part. But yeah, that's my 4.
Cannibalization?
Brandon? Yeah, I made it too complicated. Brandon.
Sometimes I have those word farts too. And then Brandon will say I have low IQ.
No, I was Brandon.
And then he'll be like, why are you taking that joke so seriously?
Well, you're the only one that ever says 70 IQ. I never say 70 IQ.
You can call me 70 IQ. We're just joking around. I'm going to go.
I was going to put Brandon on the spot because I feel like he's waiting to hear everybody else's before he makes his picks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
so no, Brandon, you put me on. You put me on the spot.
Heart and soul goes last. That's always the rule.
No. The 1-2 punch.
Heart and soul goes last.
1-2 punch.
1, Georgia.
There you go.
2, Clemson.
Clemson.
I hate saying it that way.
No, it's Clemson.
I don't think it's that. It's the S. It's not a Z.
Right. That's what he's saying.
Clemson.
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 He's softening the wrong. It's Clemson. No Z.
Clemson.
Yes.
Clemson.
Yeah, not Clemson.
Clemson.
Yeah.
3, Texas. 4, Penn State. And then do we say who wins?
We haven't said it yet, but
we'll say it. We'll circle back around and say who wins.
Okay.
Catherine, statistics.
This is bullshit.
I'm really changing mine as I speak.
No, just go with.
I have the 6 teams. I just can't decide.
There's only 4 in the playoff, Katie.
Okay, I now let you talk. You're gonna let me finish the sentence. Just 1 second. 6 teams for the 4 and the 2 in the last 2. This is nice.
Okay, you want to talk?
She's going.
Go.
1, Georgia.
Ooh.
2, Michigan. 3, Bama. 4, Texas. Ohio State and FSU are my first 2 out.
Nice.
Okay. Why did Brandon walk away?
All right.
Because he's about to announce his.
It's Penn
No,
State.
he walked away because Katie probably took one of his, and now he should have gone first, I'm assuming.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Here are my 4. And I don't know if y'all saw it yesterday. I got bored on Twitter, so I tweeted out about 9 of these.
You want to know something? Somebody on our social team sent it as a graphic to be made, the Michigan State one. And I sent it back, and I replied to him. I said, "Come on, dude! Like, you think he's serious?" He was like, "Michigan State. You had Stanford in that one, I think."
There's one with like
Michigan
Syracuse,
State, yeah.
and like Savannah Bananas are
The
Buffalo
Rockford
Bills.
Peach.
The Rockford Peaches, yes. But the first one I saw was one that I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was like a legitimate pick. And then I refreshed Twitter and saw the one that had Michigan State in it, and I was like, well, Brandon's just bored.
Correct.
It was
All
funny.
right.
I liked it.
Here we go. My playoff 4, my official playoff 4 for this show, which will change by tomorrow. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
This is in order?
Hold on. I just realized I picked Georgia to win the SEC last time.
That was my issue too.
Damn, Josh Pate really got that much real estate in your head? You saw Josh Pate too? You're like, damn, I gotta put.
Are you on his payroll to say his name? That's 9 times you said his goddamn name, Jack.
You said I didn't watch any college football shows.
I didn't want a ringing endorsement of our opponents.
I like Josh Pate.
You'll get a chalice.
Brandon, in order, seed them.
Hold on, I haven't said them yet.
Because he's changed the playoff in the 5 times in the last 2 seconds.
I'm just saying, you put me on the
It is
spot, and I
tough.
had 2
No,
lists.
All right, all right, I'm just going to say the 4 teams, okay?
Okay.
Alabama, Penn State, Texas, Ohio State.
Damn, so Georgia's gonna go 12-1. Are they just gonna get killed by Bama, you think?
So here's my thing. I think Alabama's more likely to lose in the regular season. I do think, when they play let's say they play in the conference championship game, Alabama and Georgia, neither one will have a new quarterback at that point, right? So we won't have quarterback issues. I'm looking at Georgia, incredible at tight end, good at receiver, defense is always good. They kind of got running back issues right now, right? Like they're.
I mean, I don't like. You care about that?
Not really. I don't know. I almost just want to say Georgia or Alabama. Like that's I believe strongly Penn State, Texas, and then now Ohio State. So I like those 3 locked in. I can't decide. And back when we did the SEC, I was like, I guess I'll pick Georgia, but it's Georgia or Alabama. I think they're significantly ahead of LSU, significantly ahead of the rest of the SEC. All right, my final playoff 4. Okay, you're right. Georgia, Penn State, Texas, Ohio State. Georgia 1, Penn State 2, Texas 3, Ohio State 4. There you go.
I understand that.
But goddamn it, I want to put Alabama in there too.
So just out of curiosity, and I know that Ohio State fans were pissed at all of us because of our Big Ten predictions. We didn't have Ohio State once on the graphic.
Sure.
But you think that Ohio State will lose to Penn State. Penn State will win the Big Ten championship.
No,
But
that's not what I think at all.
what do you think?
I think Ohio State beats Penn State. I think Ohio State loses to Michigan. I think all 3 could go 11-1, and then it's just a fucking mess. What's crazy? The idea that we could be talking about 3 Big Ten teams for the playoff in December is very much in play. I really think that the home team is going to win every game or could win every game of Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, which throws in the tiebreakers and all that shit and everything. Really, when it comes down to picking nits and really getting into it, why do I pick Ohio State over Michigan? Because I want to bother Michigan fans. What do you want me to do?
At least you admit it.
Yeah.
It was when I was picking my 4, I thought about putting, Michigan and Ohio State in it as well, but then I didn't want to have the repeat from last year. I was like, I don't want to just like cop out and say, well, this could potentially happen, because I think when we talked about the Big Ten, I said, even though those 3 teams, Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State, are all going to be in the conversation, I don't think having 2 Big Ten teams in the playoff is going to be a reality this season like it was last year. But if you're going to pick any conference,
I'm changing mine.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
It's a good clip. He's changed.
Right.
It's funny.
It is.
Changing mine. I'm
Okay.
changing mine.
Okay,
Everybody relax.
change it.
Relax.
Number 1, Georgia.
Okay.
Number 2, Penn State. Number 3, Texas.
Mm.
Number 4, Alabama.
Big
Ten got 2 last year. SEC gets 2 this year.
I do love that we went from Georgia not being in the playoff
At all.
because of running back issues, and I'm not making fun of him. It was just more like he was trying to have a reason why Georgia doesn't make it, which is completely possible. I almost think that all of us writing them in is almost feels off, but that schedule is just so easy.
Right.
And then if they cakewalk through it, then they go 12-1. But Alabama goes 12-1 too. What do you? This is exciting though. This is the first time I feel like
I personally think outside of the Texas game, I think Alabama's schedule is set up very well for them too. Not easy per se, but they got every tough game at home. Even Texas, they got every single tough game at home. They don't really have to go on the road and pass any tests. They got LSU at home, Tennessee at home, Texas at home. Like everything comes to them, and which is going to help their quarterback, whoever it is.
That's the problem. We all have different answers, which is great. I feel like we're all going to change our minds very quickly. 100%.
I'm in on mine.
I'm in on mine too.
Before the end of the show.
I'm not in
I'm
at all.
so down with just if I go 0-4, like who?
Yeah, no. I mean, so I'll just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. Then I cannot believe that I'm going to say this just from like a statistical standpoint, like percentage wise. Like it's just so rare. I'm taking Georgia to win the national championship again.
Wait. I have one question before we go into Natty.
Okay.
Give me a team that could make the playoff that would shock. Who could be TCU this year?
Okay, so TCU made it last year. Cincinnati made it the year before.
Yeah, who can be that?
There are outliers. Who?
Does Penn State count as that?
No,
I don't think so. They're number 7, right?
I think Washington.
I think they're too high too. I think they're in top 10.
I would need like they were both Cincinnati coming into that year was probably like top 15, top 20.
I've got one. I have an outlier that would shock everybody. It's Oklahoma. Because if Oklahoma can actually rectify all the issues that they had last year and run the Big 12 and make it in the playoff after the way they played last year, that would shock everybody. It shouldn't because it's Oklahoma, but it would because of how bad they were.
I'm going to say it. First of all, Oklahoma not going to get close. They're
I'm just saying it would shock them.
No,
it would shock. Yeah, because he sucks. Okay. The team the team that I keep hearing when I ask around, and I don't talk directly to coaches, but I got guys that talk directly.
Okay, if you say what I'm going to say.
Wait, hold on. Say it at the same time.
The team, the team that comes up the most. When it says this team is loaded.
Yeah.
This team has all.
I know he's going to say.
This team has everything.
You're going to hate it.
Are you ready? On 3, Jack?
3.
1, 2, 3.
Texas A&M. Yep. I knew he was going to say it.
They're loaded at the defensive line. They're loaded at receiver. If the quarterback is above average, people think, and I'm not saying I think this, people believe that A&M has a top 5 to 7 talent profile in this country.
Yeah, 100%.
First of all, I would like to completely say I love that answer. When you said you don't think I'm going to like it, I love it in theory.
You just have to, are you ready to get hurt again?
Yes, I'm ready every year. And
I will say, I think Connor Wegman
ready.
is the best one.
Weggy. Go with his nickname. Just go Weggy.
Do me a favor. Hold on. Jack, goddamn you. Never call him Weggy. A fucking fan on the show.
Wait, did I say his name wrong?
No, you said it right.
I was almost hoping I was because Estime, while he was running around on Saturday, I was just like, that's my boy right there. Estime. That's my boy right there. No. Like, I can't wait to turn on Texas Tech and be like, there's my guy, Tyler Show.
just butcher everybody's name and everybody get mad. This is true for every single college football fan base. If you are an actual fan of your team, you're down on them when they're bad. You're as high as you possibly can be going into the season. And if you have any preseason buzz at all, like my team does and like you guys just proved, you're ready to get hurt 10 out of 10. I'm ready to say, fuck it, like hurt me the worst.
Colin. Is Alabama going to make the playoff this year? Of course. All right, Colin was just...
Are they the only SEC team in the playoff?
I don't care what Colin Cooper has to say about anything
He said, I don't care what Colin Cooper has to say about anything ever. You wanted me to send a message. He doesn't care about
you as a person. It's not even what he has to say. You just don't care.
If he dies tonight, I wouldn't send flowers. Okay.
Oh, Jesus. That was just hateful. That was... Okay, so national champion. Or should we go around the room? I already said mine. It's Georgia, and I realize that the odds of that are crazy. I mean, the odds ever be in your favor, Georgia, a triple champion, back to back to back.
I don't know. You could make an
But their
argument.
schedule is so easy.
I'm doing it.
Do it.
Could they be like the Notre Dame of this year? Well, hold on. Let me.
I got to go ahead of Jack this time because I don't want. I want to take the one he's possibly going to take.
No, are you actually going to do it?
I am actually.
No, this is
you're not
awesome.
gonna do it.
Yes, I wasn't going to do it, but I want you to be the one.
Not the one you think I'm going to do, Casey.
I don't think it. No, it's not.
Doing this. I'm not doing this.
I don't think that.
Okay, who do you think I'm going to say?
Penn State.
The Penn State Nittany Lions are my national champion for 2023.
All right, I'm gonna do it. It's just they don't have the weapons.
Because let's be honest, it's just not exciting to pick Georgia. Like I understand why you would do it.
But it's.
Let's just throw a pick out there that we can play with all year.
And this, I think that I can if nobody else is picking
you
it.
Can. You can, but I want to throw a pick out there that I can play with all year.
This is one of those things where it's like, oh, it's chalk, but it's a safe pick because it's actually like it's not just like, oh, Alabama's going to win because it's have Nick Saban. Like Georgia going back to back to back is incredibly unlikely. But
let me ask you this: have you considered that Nick Saban was smiling at a press conference?
He was
Brandon,
2 years ago.
He has been. He was being sarcastic because he hates when people do that. I also think it's scary when Nick Saban smiles, and I think Alabama's going to be really good. But I can't pick against Georgia. They're defending back to back. I know they have Carson Beck now as opposed to Stetson Bennett, but I also choose to believe that Carson Beck is going to be better than Stetson Bennett.
That's tall order.
Well,
he was good.
Yeah. No, he was, but I think he's a more talented guy.
That's not the craziest thing to say. It's a tough thing to live up to. He won back-to-back national champion, and I know
what
it
if
wasn't.
He wins a Heisman?
Well, no, it would be. I don't think it's that crazy of a thing to say. Just for graphics' sake and whatnot, I think there's also a legitimate argument you can have that even though their odds seem short, and I don't love futures as a whole in terms of a bankroll strategy, your money's tied up for a while, but I think there is a argument to be had that the odds should be a little bit shorter than they actually are. Like you could find value if you think Georgia is good as they are last year. And Carson is as good as you think he's going to be. That should be more plus 150, plus 100 to win the national championship than what they are now. Now, all that being said, I'm gonna pick just to be a crazy person. I'm gonna pick Clemson.
I think you're the only person, and this is fine. Everybody nationally is kind of forgetting about Clemson.
Yeah,
and I think you're the only person not forgetting about.
I'm putting. They're not my TCU. I just got so lucky with TCU last year. I think my TCU of this year may be.
Wait, have you rewritten history to act like you picked TCU from the beginning to make the playoffs?
Whoa, well, not the playoffs.
No, but he was very high on them.
But you didn't pick them to make the playoffs.
Oh no. I'm not rewriting. That's fine. That's a fine.
In the summer, he was very much let's look out for TCU. He was, and then when I joined you. I don't know, week 5 or 6, and I was still early.
You were with me.
I still haven't.
Brandon still hasn't gotten in on the TCU of 2022. But Clemson, they beat Georgia in an epic national championship game, and the colors look great. It's an all-time color matchup. It's the Battle of the South. Thank God it's not Georgia Alabama again. It's a iconic game, and then we have a new rivalry in the South: Kirby versus Dabo.
All right, just quickly, trust me. Just let me do this because Jack did mention national title odds. Right now on a sports book with our name on it still currently, we have Georgia is plus 225 to win the national title. Second is Alabama at 6-1. Third is Ohio State at 7-1, followed by Michigan at 8-1, LSU 12-1, USC 16-1. Clemson 20-1, Penn State 20-1, Florida State 25-1, Notre Dame, Texas also 25-1. Then it falls off from there. So those are your top.
Texas.
11.
I don't even have to say responsibly anymore, right? Or do I still have to until I don't know?
Say responsibly.
I responsibly will sprinkle a good amount on Texas there, just because if I was taking week 0 into account and really my overreacting, I was going to put Texas in the college football playoff.
Oh, I've placed a bet on Texas to make the playoffs.
It's not.
Well, that's interesting. They're 2,500 to win the national title, but they're plus 300 3-1 to make the playoff.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's where the expansion is going to be so interesting because as of right now, only 4 slots. So do you just leave the Big 12 out of it? And now we all think it's going to be Texas. Katie,
You know what Georgia is to make the playoff, Jack?
Are they minus 150?
I was going to say minus
No,
200.
300.
Minus 2?
250.
Nah,
that's
that's
incredible.
That's almost. Oh my god.
Their schedule is so easy.
All right,
Even
Katie,
if they
I'm
lose
sorry.
the SEC title game, they go.
I think I
Well,
wonder.
Casey's interrupting you now, Katie.
No, I did not.
I wonder what's happening if they're gonna sleepwalk. Like we saw it with Missouri and Kent State with Georgia. If they are given if they're
No,
given
no,
cupcakes,
I know what you mean.
what happens is like again not the same thing as Notre Dame, but what happens when they make it to the playoff or ACC title game and they're just hit in the mouth. Not
Georgia?
I think they're built for it.
I don't think Georgia could be hitting them.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm saying.
they've
Like,
been in title fights before.
I think it's more of them just coasting and coasting and coasting,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, we actually have a game to play. Like,
Well, they have that big game. They have at Tennessee in like week 10 or 11. That's in November. That'll get their attention.
And last year they didn't really have that many. Like they kind of coasted until the Tennessee game. So I know what you're saying though, and you're right. They can't. But I
don't think they're gonna lose it. I think we're gonna have like a Kent State, like where we look up all of a sudden halftime they're only leading by 14 or 7 versus a nobody. Come out of the locker room at halftime and they're gone.
I think that sometimes happens and we overreact to those. But you're right. I wouldn't be shocked at all if that happened. Like I don't know who it would be, but yeah, like I mean they almost lost to Mizzou last year, but then at the end of the year we looked at them as one of the best teams ever.
Yeah.
Not top 5, but one like they had one of the most dominant national title games ever, and they were down to Kent State at a point. But that goes to show that football's a funny game at points.
I wonder what point, like I think we've all seen the Florida doc by now. That pressure that Urban was talking about, is that on Kirby and his team of the
100%. But I think Kirby's done a very good job at handling. Well, I mean. I was about to say like handling that pressure, but he also just like you open your phone, there's a new
arrest.
For speeding. It's
all right, Katie, national champ.
Just really quickly, I did not watch the Florida doc because I watched Jack's YouTube. So shout out Jack Max YouTube. Go subscribe.
Shout out Jack Max YouTube. Could he have put that on the Unnecessary Roughness YouTube and grown it a little bit? Sure, but he put it on his personal brand. That's fine.
You could make videos and post them on the YouTube.
Oh, damn. I didn't mean to open up this Pandora's box. Katie, who's your national champion?
My national championship, and I will mimic what Brandon, I think it's going to change tomorrow. I'm going to say this team, I instantly hate it, but I can't. I have to stick with my predictions. I have to go Michigan right now.
I love it.
I
love that
Why do you have to go Michigan?
all 4 of us are different. I love that.
So Georgia, I just think not statistically, like just to go 3-0, like something's gonna happen, something's gonna slip up, and just that worries me. Bama, I don't have any faith in the quarterbacks. I think everyone else, but it's not enough to like win the national championship. I also don't have them win the SEC. Texas, I have faith in them making the playoffs. I don't think they're gonna be ready to win it. Ohio State. That I almost, it made me want to go back on my Big Ten prediction. Like to say Michigan is winning the national title, not Ohio State. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think the conversation last week got to my head of Michigan's built to beat Ohio State. Ohio State's built to make natties.
Mm.
So,
but
wait, so who's your champion?
Michigan.
Oh, okay, nice.
here's my only thing with Michigan. They've proven they can go through a Big Ten season and get there. They haven't proven they can get on the field with an elite level SEC team or elite level national title contending team and go athlete for athlete with them. They haven't proven it yet.
They haven't proven that.
I don't love it.
But Brandon, Penn State hasn't proven they can win the Big Ten,
That's
and
true.
you have them winning the national title.
Very, very true. Very
true. We all have fun with the Big Ten stuff, but like those 3 teams, any of those answers are not bad. But, Michigan has made the dance. Penn State's not made the dance yet, and you have them taking the hottest girl home now.
I also think 17 of the last 19 AP preseason number 1s have not won it. So, like, odds are not in the favor.
Yeah, Georgia wasn't preseason number 1 last year, were they? They were 3. They were behind Alabama, Ohio State.
They were behind Alabama because Alabama people were. Yeah. I mean, the fact Alabama didn't make the playoff last year is such. Like, we'll bring it up when Travy comes in. Utter failure. And
Should we just?
I think we should go ahead and start doing that.
I
Yeah.
mean, like, should we just do that?
They were 3 last year.
Nice.
Should we just go ahead and
Ohio
bring?
State, Alabama.
Who's set to come first? Who did you tell them?
I have them all being like,
Bring
is
Travy
it
in.
going to happen? Okay.
Bring Travy.
No, bring Big Av. He's the most tenured. He
That's
probably wants
true.
to get home.
That's a good. Point.
Travy stays here forever. Dawson can wait.
Oh my God.
I don't even think we should use Dawson. He's TCU. I mean, that's not a real
Relax.
team. Hello. It is our most favorite Buckeyes fan, Ohio State Buckeyes fan, at a company that has a Michigan fan in a prominent spot and a Wisconsin fan in a prominent spot. He's right there in the middle of all of it. Big Ev, just real quick, let me take your temperature. How we feeling going into 2023?
Good actually.
Because Michigan has run it down your fucking throat 2 years in a row.
Sort of, yeah. Stopping the run's been a problem in that game.
All right. Who's going to be the quarterback?
I think McCord. I think.
I thought it was trending Daniel Brown last week.
It kind of. I don't know anymore. Day has been so coy about it because I was here. I thought it was going to be McCord the whole time. He's been there longer. He was, not that this would matter too much, but he was Marvin Harrison Jr.'s quarterback in high school.
Yeah.
Maybe a little connection there. Knows the system a little bit better. Devin Brown probably is a little more physically talented. I think his arm talent's probably a little bit better. So I was seeing a little bit what you were seeing, but it sounds like both are going to play week 1, which I really don't love, to be honest with you. But
can I give Ryan Day a shout out real quick?
Please.
And this is a shout out that's been a long time coming because he has been one of the worst looking coaches in recent years because he keeps dyeing his beard and dyeing his hair. But I noticed a picture of him the other day where he's let the gray come through. It's about damn time.
yeah, he was. I mean,
Salt and pepper's good.
he's a good look. He's a good looking fella too. He doesn't need to.
Yeah, he doesn't need to
mask
hide
anything.
anything.
Yeah, he's a good looking guy. I think there's no problems there.
Brandon, remember earlier when you said that we were done with the talking about attractive coaches?
Oh, yeah, unnecessary gayness is always there.
I'll gas my guy up always.
Yeah.
I'll gas
No,
him up.
I love it. Ev, did you see our graphic for the Big Ten preview?
You better believe I saw it. Yes, I saw
And
it.
what were your thoughts on that graphic?
I kind of loved it because I think you guys are our representation of kind of the general landscape right now. I don't think people have never been more down in Ohio State than they are this year. And maybe it's partly because obviously Michigan's won, partly because there's this huge hype around Penn State that I sort of understand but don't fully get it. So I understand they're talented. They have this new quarterback that people are excited about. So on that level, I understand. But I think we're in a spot where we've never had this little hype where, I mean, none of you picked us to even go to the Big Ten championship game.
I would like to point out that Ohio State is the preseason number 4 team in the country.
Yeah, it's too low.
But why? How's it too low?
Because they should be at least top 3.
You can't be over Georgia. You can't be
At
over
least-
Michigan.
No, listen, I don't, the preseason poll is fine. I guess it was more just about how many people are just writing us off like Michigan, just like it's like a guarantee they're just going to win
The problem is
again.
you play at Michigan, right?
I get it.
And they they absolutely, they jammed it down your throat last year.
But see, I've said this, and people push back and forth. You were Buckeye Brandon last year. You're not Buckeye. It sounds like you're not Buckeye Brandon this year.
I tell the truth at all times.
That's fine. I understand that. I just think I don't know. They ran away with the game at the end, which is a problem. The game's the game. I just think I still just keep saying people acted like it was like 40-0 at halftime. We were winning at halftime. They broke two big runs in the fourth quarter. That obviously made the score look much worse than it was, which is fine. Listen, they kicked their ass in the fourth quarter, and that's the money quarter. So I mean, I'll eat that. Like, we lost.
What if I told you that somebody in this room right now, on this Zoom, just picked Penn State to win the national championship?
I'm gonna say it might be Jack Mack.
I didn't.
So it's you, Brandon.
Yeah.
It was me, Big Ev. Yes.
I've been seeing a lot. I
am buying the hype
so
much.
Sell me. I want to hear.
He loves Drew Aller.
I think
pitch.
Clifford has held him back. I think the talent gap is not really there this year with the Michigan and Ohio State. They get to host Michigan. They go to Ohio State, which is what I would want. If I had to pick one on the road and one at home, I'd rather get Michigan at home because I feel like their advantage in Ann Arbor is pretty significant. Penn State's won in Columbus before, but ultimately they just have dudes all over the field. They have a top 10 pick at left tackle. They got everybody in the Big Ten has good running backs. They got 2 of the best running backs in the country. They got a first-round defensive back. They got freaks all over that defense. they've been held back a little bit, and they haven't broken through yet. But shit, they went 11-2 last year. They gave Ohio State everything they wanted. Michigan took it to them pretty good, but I don't know. I think they were not that far behind the two last year, and I think the quarterback and the development of those other studs is going to tighten the gap.
That's reason. All that's very reasonable because I agree with you in terms of the talent level. The one thing I will say is I think we'll see this year obviously with Aller how good he is right away, but I think we might look up at the end of this year and realize how underappreciated Sean Clifford might have been. Yeah. He won a lot of football games. He really only lost to Ohio State and Michigan. Not like the worst thing in the world in terms of how good the team is.
Success now at Penn State is for Drew Aller in his career is, can he beat Ohio State, Michigan? That's the question now, right?
Reasonable, fair, of course.
So
not beating Ohio State, Michigan is just that's an underachieving career. You go out and you get a guy like this and you give him the weapons because you've got to go beat at least Ohio State or Michigan.
So, Ev, I will admit to you that when that graphic came out, the Big Ten graphic, that I audibly gasped when I realized there was not one Ohio State logo, even on like the most disappointing. Like it just.
Well, I'm glad that's what I was gonna bring that up next. I was surprised by basically saying we're gonna lose to both of them, but we wouldn't be disappointing.
Well, I don't necessarily know if you're gonna lose to Penn State. I just don't think that you're gonna be. I don't think you're going to win the East. I think Michigan is. And I know that every year it's always like, oh, the Ohio State, Michigan, back and forth. But when we did the Big Ten preview, the one thing that I said and that I feel very strongly about going into the season, I could completely walk this back. But when you look at those three teams in the Big Ten East, you know one team has a solid quarterback. Now, J.J. McCarthy, will see what he can do at the next level. But we know that he got them to the college football playoff last year. We don't know who's going to start for Ohio State. And Drew Aller, he has a lot of hype, but can he beat? Now, Brandon, you can't sit here and tell me.
I think Brandon's going to say what I want to say.
But you can't sit here and tell me that of those three teams that Michigan has the least amount of question at who's going to play quarterback.
No, they don't have that. But I can tell you by the end of this year, I think they'll have the third best quarterback out of that group.
That could easily be true. I'm not saying that, but going into the season, we know.
Here. Big Ab, if you motherfuckers covered those play actions last year, nobody would think J.J. McCarthy's a top 10 quarterback. He had one goddamn game last year where he stepped up and made throws to wide open people down the field. He didn't do it against Illinois. He barely did it against anybody else, but he
didn't have to.
Up with play action, and people say, oh, well, he's a top 10 quarterback. No, he's not a top 10. He's not a top 15 quarterback. He is solid at best. And if Drew Aller or Kyle McCord are not better than solid, this is a useless conversation anyway. They're both useless,
but going into the season, if you lay out those three teams, the least amount of question at quarterback is at Michigan.
Okay.
You don't even know who's going to start in Columbus yet, and is Drew Aller the guy we don't know?
Well, let's change that argument. Let's say, if I put Texas A&M, Georgia, and Arkansas three together, who has the least amount of questions or who has the most amount of questions at quarterback? Georgia. Well, Georgia's still the best team far and away.
Yeah, but Arkansas didn't make the college football playoff last year. Michigan did. Like, Michigan made the college football playoff last year with the quarterback that's coming back.
Going off Brandon, but you also argue he's the reason they lost that playoff game that they should have won.
But I'm not going to compare KJ Jefferson to Arkansas to JJ McCarthy in Michigan when Michigan made the college football playoff last year. They beat Ohio State.
What you're saying is they have an advantage at quarterback, and I don't think they do.
No, I'm saying that of the three teams going into the season, they have the least amount of questions at quarterback. We don't know who's.
Does Penn State have a quarterback?
Is Drew Aller the hype that we haven't seen him play at Penn State yet?
But we know he's going to be the guy. Like, there's no question about that.
Well, yeah, but we thought Quinn Ewers was going to be the guy at Ohio State.
Well, that's a different.
But he didn't really get to play yet, though. He was so young.
Drew Aller is going to be very good, we think.
I just think J.J. McCarthy. I don't think quarterback really determines this scenario. I think J.J. McCarthy is solid. That's the highest he's going to be. And if Penn State or Ohio State are going to pass Michigan, they have to naturally be better than they have to pass like a 7-foot bar, not a 10-foot bar.
But it's a big if. And I think that if I had to pick between Penn State and Ohio State, I'm going to pick Ohio State because I think Ohio State has a better chance because of everybody else around him. I think Drew Aller is going to be good. But I think Ohio State's going to be very talented, but it's hard for me to sit here and say that when Michigan beat Ohio State last year and the quarterback is coming back who did it, regardless of what you think he did the rest of the season, and we don't know who's going to start for Ohio State yet, I think it's pretty easy to say. Now, all three of those teams are going to be in the playoff conversation down to the very end of this season. There's no doubt in my mind with that. Right?
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to the crucial games, and we saw a little bit this week. I mean, Notre Dame's not going to be an easy game. I don't think.
Okay, that was my next question.
I don't think it's going to be an easy game for sure.
Does South Bend make you nervous at all?
Well, I mean, sure in the sense of I'm not looking past them. I'm not walking in there being like, oh, we're just gonna waltz in there and just like stomp all over little Notre Dame. Their offensive line is very good. Their left tackle Joel, it's a first round guy, maybe the first tackle taken. They have real talent. They have a stable of running backs, not just estimate. They were running 4 guys, and I'm a big Hartman guy going into the season. It was Navy, but he looks sharp. He's played a ton of football. He's experienced. He's accurate. He's mobile. Talented guy. Yeah, he's old as shit. He's just a very talented guy. The one thing I'll say about Ohio State is I think we've had these huge recruiting classes on defense that I think are finally getting like where like JT's a junior, Jack Sawyer, some of these super like these blue chip prospects are coming into their own.
I would like to see
season.
some more from Jack this year.
I want to too.
JT's like
he's a good kid.
JT's one of the best defensive.
He like won that Penn State game. He was on that Penn State game. Just showed how good he can be when he's on point.
Jack was probably one of the more hyped up prospects that has come to Ohio State since which isn't that long ago, but he had the Bosa twins hype. And I mean, he's still young. I mean, sometimes it takes some guys to like figure it out a little bit longer. And then it's not like he's been awful or anything, but I would love to see Jack take that next. If he does, that's huge.
And like Denzel Burke at corner. We brought in the Davis, the kid from Ole Miss, who they've been like crazy reviews that he's been unbelievable in camp and all that.
That ain't gonna help. Okay.
I'm cautiously optimistic about the defense this year.
And you and I talked about this. I said the same thing like in a few episodes ago. I do think people are being a lot harder on Ryan Day than they should be because, yes, he's lost in Michigan 2 years in a row, but just because you inherit talent like he did from Urban Meyer does not mean that you get them back to the college football playoff, and he has.
He's kept it, and I've said this over and over again, his thing over Harbaugh. I know Harbaugh's beat him twice in a row, but when it's come to the playoff, Harbaugh has just laid eggs. In the playoffs, Day's been there, like won games, almost like was literally a kick from beating Georgia last year, winning a national title. I was just arguing with someone on Twitter just before said that Ryan Day's the worst coach ever. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's lost like 4 games in like 3 years.
It's easy to dunk on him
or
because
whatever
of
it is, like
what's
5
happened
games, whatever it is. It's
against Michigan.
4 years.
Big Ev, we asked you to bring 2 predictions. Did you bring them?
No.
We didn't.
Okay.
We didn't ask.
I didn't know the full. Listen. It's national title or bust.
Okay, that's what I'm about to say.
That's just what it is.
Okay.
I don't think there's some predictions. There's like
what you were supposed to be told was bring a bold prediction for your team and a bold prediction for somebody else.
Okay.
So you want to come up with that right now? What's a bold prediction for Ohio State? I want to remind people right now that Big Ev sat his motherfucking ass last year and gave us one of the worst bold hot takes in the history of this show when he said Ohio State will have not 2, but 3.
I think I might have said 4.
No, I think he said.
I think I might have said all 4.
Yeah.
I think he said
3.
4.
I thought it was 3.
I threw Paris Johnson in the mix.
Yeah.
TJ Stroud, Travion Henderson, and then you threw an offensive lineman in there.
I threw Paris Johnson, who was the 3rd overall pick in the draft. For the
and he put JSN, right? No.
I think JSN as well. Yeah, pre-injury.
Yeah, he said
Marvin Harrison coming off a 3-touchdown game in the Rose Bowl.
He said those 3 and then added the offensive lineman, so we're a grand total of 4.
So there were only
Ohio State offense to New York for the Heisman.
Only Buckeyes would be represented in New York.
All right, what do you got for me this year?
You know what? I think it's the defense. I think it's that the defense will be the best in the Big Ten. I think it'll be better than Michigan's. I know if that's like a crazy hot take. I really believe the defense is going to take another step up year 2 in Jim Knowles. Like I said, I think the young talent's finally getting older. That the veterans now leaders of the team. So it's the best defense in the conference.
What's the percentage chance that Ohio State makes the playoff?
I mean, I'll say like this year might be like this year. I don't know if 2 Big Ten teams are going to get in. They might, because I do think a Pac-12 team might get in this year. But probably like 60-40, I think that we get in. Maybe a little higher than that.
You want to throw us a playoff 4 real quick?
You're allowed to change it. Brandon's changed his 4 times already.
So I guess
I had Ohio State in about 45 minutes ago, and then I took them out.
Because it's weird. Because it's kind of weird because I just said a Pac-12 team could get in. My other bold prediction is going to be about another Pac-12 team, and I feel like that I'm going to say they're going to win the Pac-12, but I feel like they probably won't get in the playoff though.
Fuck, I think you love who I love. You love Washington?
No.
Oh,
I do. I like Washington. Nothing against
Oregon?
Washington. I love Oregon State. I think they're the dark horse.
Yeah, they're good.
So you believe DJ will get the job done
I
there?
think he's not as bad as people think he is, and I think he's
not as bad as Clemson fans want him to be.
Yes, correct. I'm not just like a strictly look at numbers guy, But when you do look at the numbers, you realize, wow, he wasn't as bad as we probably thought on paper. He made some bad throws. But I also think what he's going to be asked to do in the Oregon State offense, they're going to run the shit out of the ball. Great offensive line. Pac-12 freshman of the year coming back is Dave Martinez, the running back. I just think they're going to run the shit of the ball. They're going to have a good defense. And I think he's going to be in a spot to succeed. That's why I think I'm pretty high on them. And I think the way their schedule breaks out, like I think they can maybe get in the maybe lose like one Pac-12 game if things go right.
All right.
So I think I take them Oregon State plus like 1,200 to win the Pac-12.
I don't hate that. The Pac-12 is so jammed up. It's tight, and they're all got good quarterbacks.
I think USC is going to drop like multiple games.
Well, if they come out like they did the other night, they will, because that's the best.
They can't stop anybody.
No, it's so tough.
If you make like 3 stops against them, you're going to beat them. I think they're going to lose multiple Pac-12 games.
All right,
Zach Branch
thank you very much.
And they're going to lose to Notre Dame too in South Bend.
Somebody here has USC in their playoff.
Well, you didn't give him the context of it.
No. All I said was somebody here has you.
You're Mrs. Lincoln Riley, so I knew.
Ev, I will tell you, I had this.
Miss Lincoln Riley.
I have this crisis going in because I had them prior to week 0, and I know they won by 30 points. And Zach Branch looked amazing, and Caleb Williams had even a meh game for him, and he still had like 1 billion yards. That defense can't stop anybody. And I said, if Cordero can do that to them, then what's the Pac-12 going to do? However, I got to stick with my guns. I can't walk it back just because of one game in week 0 that they won by 30.
No, it's fair. I mean, I wasn't high on them last year.
I know.
Not high on them again. Just the defense. Like, you're just not gonna. When you're, like you said, you're giving up 28 points to San Jose State. When you play these other Pac-12 teams with good quarterbacks.
Can I tell both of you something right now while we're all in the same room before we get to Chicago in a few days? Can I tell both of you this? I will probably leave USC out of my college football playoff by the time we get to the college football show. Brandon, you've changed yours like 5 times. I'm just letting you know. I'm saying this for this show by the time. So don't come at me when we record this show this week and be like, oh, on unnecessary roughness, you said USC. I'm putting it on record now that I am allowed to change just like you have.
Well, I probably will come at you. So I just
then I will remind the person sitting right next to me, I believe on my left, that you took Ohio State to be in the playoff if you don't put them on it. So just know that I will come right back.
I don't have Ohio State to play.
But you said it on this show.
Yeah, but I worked through it.
Okay, so I'm going to work through it before we get to the college football playoff. It's going to be the office meme with the guns, because I swear to God, if I leave them out and you bring this up, I will do it to you. Ev, you're in the clear.
All right. Thank you, Big Ev. We appreciate it. Anything else to say?
The playoff, I was thinking I'll go Georgia, Ohio State. I know me and you are opposite on this. I like LSU this year. I know you don't like them as much.
I don't.
I like them. I think they're going to be very good. I think they could beat Bama again. So I'll say they lose to Georgia, but they end up. I don't know what they're going to do with that seeding wise, with having both of them in after they might have. In my scenario, they would have just played each other.
Probably 1-4.
Do you think they would just run? If in that scenario, you think they would just run it back again?
Well, isn't that what they did? What did they do when Alabama beat Georgia a couple years ago? What was that? That wasn't 1-4.
I thought they made them to 3. They made
them 1-3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I think they would almost have to like. Go like
yeah, you're right.
Well, it depends on who the fourth team.
Go like Ohio State, LSU, and then.
Well, I mean, it depends on who loses too.
Right.
Like if Georgia.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll go bold. I'll say Oregon State. If I really believe they're that good, I'll say Oregon State. Fuck it.
Put your fucking nuts on the table.
Yeah, fuck it. Oregon State at the 4. One Pac-12 loss, but they win the Pac-12.
Love it. I love that.
I love that too.
Right. Thank you, Big Ev.
Thank you, Ev.
Thank you.
Somebody send Travy in because we got to do this Alabama bullshit. Hello, Travy.
What
Hi,
up?
Travy.
How are we?
Yeah, let's do this punk ass Alabama bullshit.
You didn't want to do it in person?
You want me to fly in to talk to you about Alabama?
Could have done it last week.
That's a good point.
No, I couldn't have. We had to do other stuff. We didn't have to stop. We weren't going to stop our show so you could come talk about Alabama. Oh my God, Nick Saban's smiling. Oh my God, Nick Saban's pissed. Everybody run. They're going to beat everybody. Come on.
I like our face-to-face interactions though.
Yeah, they're nice. All right, go ahead. Final record for Alabama.
Most likely 11-1, but I wouldn't be surprised to see 12-0.
Percentage chance they win the national title.
Quarterback play pending. I'll go 45 or 50.
What do you mean quarterback play pending? That's
right. They're gonna have to play, Travy.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying what type of quarterback style.
Yeah, but you have to predict right now.
Our team
right now, if the quarterback play is going to be good enough.
Well,
to win
he's a little gun shy after he said 95%.
Yeah, I mean, last year's team was generational.
So if you
failed miserably,
a shirt that had the playoff bracket and said "See you in January,"
he wore it last week.
That shirt's evergreen. It will stand the test of time.
Yeah. Also, That's
It didn't
also
stand the test of last year.
I mean, but if we're going off history, that shirt is very like. I mean, you can wear that shirt whenever if you are
No,
from Bama.
what about in 2 years when there's 12 teams in the playoffs, Travy?
I mean, yeah, we'll get an updated one. We'll just put Bama at 1, and then we'll have the 11 other teams in the bracket.
So
All
you're
right.
going 45%?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack. You were going to say something.
well, if the quarterback play is good and you're still only giving your guys
No,
a
of cour-
45% chance, that's not good.
No, I'm saying is like with right now we don't know who our quarterback's going to be, so that's why I put it at 45 or 50. Now,
Yeah, that's not stopping you from saying they got a 50%. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but we got a 50% chance.
I think we're that good around the quarterback that we're going back to the old style where we don't have to depend on the quarterback.
With who?
Like, I mean, if we're going to go back to Jake Coker, if we're going to go back
But who is your surrounding cast that's so good?
Aren't you overrating the defense?
What?
Aren't you overrating the defense?
No, last year it was overrated. This year it will be elite.
By losing Will Anderson and by losing the
We
coordinator.
have talked about this.
By bringing in a retread.
We both talked about this. Will Anderson, he was letting up. He knew he was he was going in the top 5 last year. We have guys on our defense that are playing into the top 10.
Then
to be
why
a
did he
top 10
play in the
pick.
bowl game?
I mean, dude, a Saban player is not going to opt out of the bowl game.
Then why is a
saying
Saban player
Dallas-
pulling up because
You're
of
saying Dallas Turner is definitely not going to let up. Kool-Aid McKinstry is definitely not going to let up this year.
No,
you can say that.
Kool-Aid has to play well, obviously, but I think for him, if he has a bad season, he could drop outside the top 10. I thought Brian Branch was a lock to be in the top 10 last year. He was not. Dallas Turner, not a lock to be in the top 10. I think our high-end impact players are going to be playing their way up to where Will Anderson and Bryce Young were, rather than they knew they were already going to be there.
You entered last year with a defending Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. You entered last year with the best defensive player in the country, and you lost to Tennessee and LSU. You lost 2 games. It's one of the most underachieving Nick Saban teams of all time. So couldn't I say reasonably that maybe Nick Saban just ain't got it no more?
You could say that, but history tells you that when people do say that, we come back and we end up winning it all.
But the rosters that you had back then, like let's see, we're talking about like 2011, 2012, around there, maybe 2015.
So
the rosters
2012 to
you got-
2015, we had like the similar gap.
The 2015 roster makes this roster look like a junior high school.
Well, we can say that because we know what they've done in the NFL. We don't know what these guys have done. Like, you could be right, I could be right. We don't know because
there's not a Derrick Henry on this team.
But we have 4 running backs this time. Like, we have 4 running backs with literally the same type of star level that they were coming into high school. We don't know what they are yet because we've yet to see that. But
Brandon is resting his head on the microphone right now.
But you have to give these guys an opportunity to play. Just like we didn't know when a 5-star comes in, we don't know that they're going to be fantastic and amazing and everything until they actually play. So I understand that your take on this is like, well, we don't know that Alabama guy. Well, that Alabama guy has to show up for them to be the guy.
By the way, I'm saying all this, and I do have Alabama in my playoff.
Let's go.
Anyway, just relax. You're not really giving enough credit to the fact that you've got a new offensive coordinator.
Yep.
You got a new defensive coordinator who, by the way, fucking sucked at Miami last year.
But he's been good at other places.
Yeah, he's been good when he had Alabama talent or whatever talent 10
He's
years
good
ago.
at Auburn.
He might be about done. He might be done. And Tommy Rees, we'll see. And Tommy Rees has to break in a new quarterback. Like, the question marks are not small.
No, I know. Obviously you don't want a massive question mark at the most important position on the field, but I think that we will figure it out, and our talent around the quarterback will push us forward.
I mean, I saw a Barstool Alabama tweet today of Jalen Milroe, and they were like, look how ripped Jalen Milroe is, ... QB1. What? I mean, like, one of your best quarterbacks over the past decade looked like a bag of milk. He still looks like a bag of milk. Like, what are we talking about here? It's, like, sad. It's really sad to see the state of affairs. It's like a heavyweight fighter who was really good at one point, and now he's fighting these bottom of the barrel guys, and they're just getting dominated.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where the pact of getting dominated comes in from. We lost by a combined total of 4 points last year on both of them on the last play of the game. So getting dominated last year was by no means what happened.
You gave up 52 to Tennessee. You gave up 32.
That's not dominated though. If the score line we lose by 3-1.
Yeah, you were able to keep up with them scoring wise, but you lost your Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Now you're not going to be able to keep up with them.
You have to remember, Will Anderson was letting up.
That's true.
I think he was.
He let up.
He had
Travy, please remember that Brandon picked them to be in the college.
I know.
Football
See, he's a smart man for this.
Travy. I think we all agree that Alabama looks like an 8-4 team on paper.
No. Come on now.
No.
8-4. I mean, Bear Bryant will be rolling over in his grave.
Well, yeah. Well, let's not open that can of worms. Literally. So, what else? Did you bring a bold prediction?
Yeah, I believe that Dallas Turner will have a similar season to Will Anderson's sophomore season.
Jesus Christ.
But don't get up. Hey, if you got him in the playoff.
Will Anderson's sophomore season is one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen.
And he wasn't in New York.
He should have been.
I know. I know. I was like, I came in with bold, but if we're in the playoff and you're in my playoff and your playoff, then you should agree.
I gotta look something up right now.
This is a good thing that I bring up here. So since Saban has been there, in first year starting quarterbacks, there are 5 national champions.
But the problem is the roster, all those first year quarterbacks, like the Mac Jones roster a couple years ago. I mean, a crash test dummy could have quarterbacked that team to a national championship. You don't have that roster anymore, Travy.
We will see. The roster's there.
All right, here we go. Hold on.
We have
Dallas,
all right, go.
Dallas Turner, who's about to have maybe the greatest season in the history of college football for a defensive player. Last year, he had 37 total tackles. He had 8 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. So what you're telling me is he's going to go from 37 and 4 sacks to having what? What did Will Anderson have a couple years ago? 23, 24? So he's going to
sacks, I think he had 15. 15 and a half.
And then also
I think it was 24 TFLs.
Is he about to is he going to be double teamed this year or is Will Anderson coming back?
No, I think that he'll deal with some double teams, but Chris Braswell will benefit massively from
I remember last year Dallas Turner was supposed to benefit massively from the double teams on Will Anderson.
Our interior defensive line didn't play that well last year. We couldn't get any pressure. So.
But
we have I believe 8 of our 11 defensive ends on the defensive front, former 5-stars. So
well, I mean that's
huge. Yeah, you had a fucking Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. You couldn't beat LSU.
I already told you we massively underperformed, and I agree that it's the most underperforming team that Saban's ever had.
Why don't you think it's possible for them to underperform again?
I don't think they'll underperform this year because I think that's a different type of chip on their shoulder. That's all it is. Yes, the team was supposed to be more talented last year, but maybe this team realizes that's like, oh well.
Wait. Where's the chip on the shoulder last year? They lost the national championship to a team that didn't win the national championship for like 50 years.
And then they had people gassing them up the entire year.
Dude, what? Isn't Nick Saban supposed to keep that like why? Like
that's why I think this year when they go
but he's smiling. He's smiling.
No,
at
when they
press
go
conferences.
into the season this year, it's like, oh shit. Well, maybe we're gonna have to win games not relying on our quarterback.
This is brutal. You're playing like not the moral card.
Hey, I'll play to get this team out. We're 7-5. We're 7-5. Like we're 7. But this team has to do something that an Alabama team has not had to do in a long time,
which
is the best player on the field is not at the quarterback position. So they are going to have to realize and be like, we're going to have to win these games around us rather than having a generational quarterback in the backfield that might be able to.
I do agree. No, but I agree with him because we talked about it that before Tua.
Yes.
That it was that way.
It was like, our quarterback game manages. It's all good. We have we like running back this defense that like let's do that.
Fine.
That's what we're going to have to get back to if we want to be in the playoff.
Fine, but you say that, and you say the quarterback's not going to be the best player, but the players at receiver are nowhere near what they've been in the last 2 or 3 years. The players at running back are nowhere near what they've been in the last 10, 15 years. The offensive line looks good. Tight end is
elite offensive
line looks good, but you're not elite at receiver. You certainly don't look like a leading receiver on paper.
I think Malik Benson will be good, and we'll see who folds in. I was like, I've seen and heard from scrimmages that they've done better, but they did have issues dropping the ball.
You heard.
Okay.
I just made when you said that, it's gonna look like I was reacting to what you just said. I don't know if I looked down or looked at Travy, but I just looked up and your hair is soaking wet. That was so confusing.
Do you have
What the fuck just happened?
do you have a bold prediction for somebody else?
I think there's a possibility that
No. There's a possibility. Bold.
Okay, bold. Every team from Texas finishes under 9.5 wins in the Power
Okay,
Five.
there we go. Wait, what? Oh, I see what you're
All
saying.
Power 5 teams from Texas all finish under 9.5
Okay,
wins.
cool.
Took a shot at a whole fucking state.
Yes,
That's a bold. That was a great bold one. Not possibility, just straight up.
bold. There.
So who wins the Big 12?
Oklahoma.
That's pretty bold.
If-
There's the bold take, Brandon. There it is.
If that bold if it happens, now we'll see. But no, I have a different pick though.
There's got to be a former Alabama coaching in the Big 12 that's going to win it.
No. Like I think the Texas will win.
Oh, also,
I mean,
Brandon-
Sarkisian.
I think Texas wins the Big 12
Brandon-
easily, but the bold take would be all the
Brandon,
teams
the new
finishing
Alabama thing now is D'Amico Ryans is the greatest football coach to ever exist, and if Nick Saban retired a little bit earlier, he'd be at Alabama right now, continuing the dynasty.
Who's starting that?
You said all you talk about is D'Amico Ryans.
I love D'Amico Ryans. I said if Saban were to retire in 2 to 3 years, if I could pick any coach and he's willing and wants to recruit, I would take D'Amico
Remember
Ryans.
when he said he didn't want Dabo?
I still stand by that.
He wants
Ask
Lane.
Alabama fans. They do not want Dabo Swinney.
What?
So you would
We do
pick
not-
Alabama fans are stupid then.
We don't want him.
Lowest IQ fans probably like
He can maintain a
He won 2
defense.
national titles. He built it at fucking Clemson. What do you think he would do with Tuscaloosa's resources?
We'll see. He doesn't like using the portal.
Whatever. No, not okay.
He took one transfer ever.
Anything else?
Nah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Travy.
Good job,
Travy versus Brandon
love
is such a great rivalry. It really is.
I love that guy. Good guy.
I mean, I said this last
Doesn't give enough
episode.
credit for one of the hardest workers in the company. So he busts his ass. All right, I gotta get ready for this next guy.
Oh boy.
He's gonna. Here he comes.
Bring his ass to
Brandon's
me.
strong.
Bring his
Where
ass.
is he? Why wasn't he outside waiting?
He's right outside right now, right?
Oh my God!
No.
You're gonna die.
Oh no, Brandon. Oh no.
What's up? It's good to see you. How you doing?
Oh my God!
So
This
for
is
all the
just-
people that
How
are
are you gonna wear the
listening,
headphones, dipshit?
Yeah, you can't even hear him.
I actually heard the dipshit line. That
No,
one was loud. Yeah, I gotta take this off.
Take it off. Put the headphones on and see if you can get the helmet back on.
no
you probably can't.
chance.
Oh, put that on top of it? No.
That
Yeah.
would hurt.
No way, Brandon. Sorry.
Look at his shirt.
So for all of our listeners, Dawson wore in a TCU helmet. Is that Jack's helmet?
Remember, I'm still waiting for my fucking helmet.
It
Oh my
was
God!
about
Imagine
3 weeks.
Can you imagine wearing an Omaha shirt that your team didn't even win?
Yeah. Hey, you gonna talk in the mic, or you want it that far away? Social distancing. Come on, bring it up to your fucking
I'm not
face.
content, so
Bring it.
I'm
Move
trying-
it.
This right here? Okay. All
Like
right.
when Jack gets sassy with these motherfuckers. Okay.
All right.
Um,
Jeez.
I mean, it's,
Hey, buddy. Hey, Dawson.
Hey, man. It's good to see you.
How you doing?
Great. Fantastic. Yep.
Do it.
There you go.
You make a noise? Okay. I think consensus around the country is that TCU is the biggest fluke that ever fluked and is poised for a 5-7 season in 2023. I don't really see there's really any reason to argue this at all. They were a joke. They shouldn't have been anywhere near the playoff, and they got embarrassed and, frankly, are embarrassing to college football. Do you agree?
Obviously not. I think you look at, one score wins as a bad thing. I think that's a incredible thing for a team to be good at, is good at winning close games, right? That's what good teams do. They win close games. And that's what we
Good
did.
teams don't play close games with West Virginia.
yeah.
On the road is always hard in Morgantown. Everyone knows that.
Except for the teams that win by 40 there, but sure.
Yeah. But yeah. But let's talk about this season, right? I mean,
Let's talk about the 2020. Enough about
Yeah,
2022.
yeah,
Let's talk about 20.
yeah.
So Chandler Morris was going to be your starting quarterback last year. He got hurt, and then Max Duggan took it and made history, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
But now you got Chandler Morris back.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel like he's the guy?
Yeah, he's the guy. I mean, TCU success this year really comes down to three things. One is, can Chandler Morris stay healthy? That was a problem that he had at the end of the 2021 season and, during the Boulder game last year. If he can stay healthy, that's a big thing for us because we haven't really seen him be healthy for more than a 4-week stretch during the season. So that's
not good.
That's
that's
not
a problem.
good. That's
a
not good.
Big time problem.
But with a brand new offense in, can our offense make him safe? Because last year Max ran a bunch, and I think we aren't going to run with the quarterback as much this year. So that's really one big thing. And
Now,
yeah.
Morally, do you have a problem with a Christian university hiring Kendall Bryles to run the offense?
I didn't go to TCU during the whole Bryles scandal, so I'm just gonna play like I don't really.
He's a piece of shit.
Don't ask, don't tell. Is that what you're doing?
I've heard he's a great guy from people. Well, as a Christian myself, I do believe in forgiveness.
It's a good answer.
And hopefully he went to church and he spoke to God and he paid for his sins.
He is not his father. I will give you that. He's not art.
He's not his father. I mean, was
what
he?
Are your other things?
Wait, sorry, what's that? Oh yeah. So the other two things, top 15 portal class. Can they come in and can they fit in? Because we got guys from Bama, two guys from Bama with Earl and Brockemeyer and a bunch more guys that come in on the defensive side too. So
don't you have three from
Georgia?
Bama? Who's the running back?
Oh yes, correct. Trey Sanders. Yeah, correct. So really, can that transfer portal class gel and fit in with the new offense? And then number 3 is, can we win close games just like we did last year? Because
what about the theory that if over time those close games always even out?
Yeah, you told me that. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean,
they didn't last year.
I love that answer. I don't know, man.
No, they didn't last year. That's the problem, Casey. That's the problem.
But if it's a new quarterback and a new offense and a bunch of different guys, can you really say that carries over?
Year to year, that kind of holds up. The Twins kind of give themselves back.
If Max Duggan was the quarterback and Garrett Riley was still there, and then they still continued to win those close games the way they did last year, would you give them credit for winning the close games in 2022 since you haven't done that?
No, because I would still be banging the drum that they had close games against bad teams.
It is really tough to keep that going. I mean,
definitely. I'm not saying they're going to, but
past results don't dictate future results.
Especially
however, the chance of a team going 7-0 in 7-score games is so slim.
So what you're saying is that Hypnotoad is not real this year?
It wouldn't be shocking, but I mean, even if let's say they go 4-2 in 1-score games, that's not awful. Even if you go 2-2.
You ready?
Yeah.
Just tell me win or loss, okay? You ready?
All right.
Colorado at home.
Win. I'll buy a lot.
Nickel State at home.
Okay, win.
At Houston.
Win.
SMU at home.
Win.
Yeah, I'm fine with all these so far. The schedule's easy early.
Yes.
You agree with that?
Yep, correct. The first 6 games or first 7 games are pretty much will be favored by
West Virginia at home.
Win.
Iowa State on the road.
Win.
BYU at home.
Win.
Anything short of 7-0, and y'all got problems.
Yeah.
What's the most likely of those games that you would drop?
At Houston.
Cyclones.
No, they
on the road.
stink.
But going up to Jack Trice is always tough.
No, I mean, if you lose to fucking Iowa State, you're a failure.
I mean,
in 2023, you guys should not. You are so much more talented.
Of those games, I would say it's either Houston or Iowa State. I mean,
all right, let's give you 6-1 for argument's sake at this point, okay?
Or 7-0.
You don't have, or you want 7-0 or 6-1 for this argument?
Frogs will be 7-0.
You got 7-0. You got 7-0. So we're 7-0. It's October 21st. The magic is happening again. We beat BYU 46-43. We beat Iowa State 9-4. We beat everybody in close games somehow because we got a miracle shoved up our fucking ass. But here we go. October 21st. Now the season starts. Are you ready?
Correct.
At Kansas State.
Loss.
Wow, bold. Okay. Well, they did stick it up your ass in the conference championship game at Texas Tech.
Win.
You sure?
We aren't going to lose back-to-back.
It's always
games
tough
like
going over to
It
Lubbock
Lubbock.
Lubbock is crazy.
But we've handled business in the past. I think we've won the past 4 games.
Yeah, but they haven't been as good as they're going to be this year.
I mean, we weren't as good as we were last year. The past times that we beat them, so I mean, we're getting better too.
No, I know what he's saying.
No,
What-
actually, he's making sense.
That
No.
didn't make sense.
No,
I should have
it
phrased
makes
it better.
sense. You're
no,
saying
in
that-
2021,
I
in
got it.
2020 and 2021, you weren't as good as you were in 2022.
Correct. We beat them in
All right,
2019,
so-
2020,
You've been beating
21,
them without
22.
being a team
Yes.
that went to the national
Yeah.
championship. Yes.
Yeah,
At this
yeah.
point, you're 8-1.
Texas.
Although I think you're 7-2 because I don't think you're winning at Kansas State or Texas Tech.
That's actually nice of him to say 7-2.
Well, that
for
first
Brendan
7
Walker.
games is just fucking pathetic. I mean, that's an embarrassing schedule, and I can't believe y'all even
It's
signed up.
almost
for
like
it.
maybe like the SEC out of conference. Maybe probably
I'm sorry, we play Arizona this year, so suck on that.
that's a G5 team, pretty much.
You play Colorado. Okay. You've got it's November 11th. You're either 7-2 or 8-1, and you're playing Texas at home.
We're beating Texas. I'm telling you. Since we joined the Big 12, I'm pretty sure we're 7-3. Since they joined the Big 12, we own them. The last game they don't want to play us when they move conferences because we own them. I mean, not like as a program, but like, in the past 10 years, we have owned their fucking brand.
Stop qualifying your bold statements. Let the bold statement be bold, okay?
Okay.
Stop saying when you say we own them, we don't really own them. No, fucking say it with your chest, man.
All right, okay. All right, well, I'm trying to be factually correct
In the
here.
Big 12, you own them.
Yes.
That's the way.
Yes.
That's what he's trying
Since
to say.
we joined since we joined the Big 12, we bossed them around like a little baby cow. That didn't. That little
Baby cow?
baby Bevo. Little baby Bevo. That
Baby
didn't make
cow,
any
go where
sense.
you're supposed to go, baby cow. Everybody knows that baby cows listen to everything.
Jokes. That
I
was
just
bad.
think of it. There's a field in West.
See when you
Texas
want me to
right
get
now.
bold? Since it happened,
I
you said
love
just start
it.
saying
There's a
I
field
love
in West
it.
Texas where a frog is telling a baby calf where to go.
I don't know, man, dude. This is why I stay up
Okay.
on the 3rd floor.
All right. So you say you beat Texas. What would you say to the fact that 2 of the 3 people you're talking to right now have Texas in their playoff?
I think they are an incredibly talented team, probably the most stacked roster in the Big 12. So it's not a bad pick, but I mean, whenever we play Texas, whatever stats, whatever roster, 5-star transfer, blah, 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 that shit goes out the window and TCU just wins. I don't know how, but we just beat them all the time.
I know that you've seen the
It's
graphic.
true.
It is
You-
true.
you
You've seen the
guys
graphic.
have.
We all picked Texas to win the Big 12.
Yeah. I mean,
Only one person in this room picked TCU and Texas to play in the Big 12 championship. It was me.
was it you?
Yeah, it was me.
Big fan.
Thanks.
Big fan.
I do think.
The other day, Dawson assaulted me, by the way.
What?
Oh, what
Why
do you do?
Insult you.
You remember? I was like, oh, you're looking good. And I went up to kind of tap you. And then you grabbed my hand and my wrist, as if I was trying to get a takedown on you.
Treating you like a baby cow.
Yeah, that is true. You treated me like Texas.
No, bossing you around like a baby cow. Make sure you.
No,
you
wait.
get that right.
Bossing around like a baby cow. No.
Okay, so he beats Texas November 11th.
Baylor.
No, first of all, no, they don't.
No, I'm
his-
continuing his schedule.
All right. So in your mind at this point, you're 9-1.
9-1.
So
Lost
here,
to K-State. This is Dawson's.
y'all asked for my bold take.
Yes.
For TCU, I think Texas and TCU come into this game undefeated. And yes, I did say that they lose to K-State, but I think that this Texas TCU game, maybe both teams have, one loss, but I think this has potential of being one of the best and most hyped up college football games of the year, especially if
You gonna be
Texas, Yes,
Okay.
100%.
Well,
I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I don't know if I can take another season where the biggest games have TCU in them. That was fine last year
Such
one
a
time.
hater.
The semifinal was an incredible game.
I can't be doing that TCU shit 2 years in a row. I just can't.
But
All
but here the devil's advocate on that, if TCU, so I mean Dawson said they could lose to Kansas State, but if TCU makes it and Texas is as good as you think they're going to be, and Texas goes in and beats an undefeated TCU pretty handedly, then your choice for Texas in the playoff is pretty set because TCU made the playoff last year.
I'm not worried about TCU this year. Texas is going to roll them. Texas is not really worried about TCU this year. They're worried about Alabama. They're worried about Oklahoma.
That's why they always lose to us.
You don't think they're worried about Oklahoma? You don't even like Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma sucks. You're 9-1, Dawson. By some miracle. Now you've got Baylor coming to Fort Worth.
Win.
On November 18th.
We also own them too.
Nobody. Okay. And then you're now 10-1, and you finish your season in Norman, Oklahoma, on Friday. It looks like on Friday. Yeah, on a Friday after Thanksgiving, 11 a.m. kickoff against Oklahoma. TCU at Oklahoma. Do you win that game?
I mean, that's one of those games where on paper we shouldn't win, but if OU's not good this year and they aren't in the contention for a Big 12 championship game, I don't see why we can't win that game. But I do think that they will take that next step, and so I would say 10-2.
I want you to make me a promise right now. When you guys are 6-6 and headed to the Texas Bowl in late December, you'll come back on the show and we'll preview that bowl game. Correct?
Yes, sure.
Good. Thank you. I was just Dawson. It can't happen 2 years in a row. It was a miracle. It was a fluke.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. So, miracle, yep, but not fluke.
No, it was a fluke and a miracle. It was a flukerical.
A mook. A mluke.
It was a mook. No.
A mluke.
We'll work on the branding of it.
No, I do not think that it was a fluke. I mean, they had to have a lot of things bounce right. I mean, the hypnotoad was a thing for a reason.
A flukical.
A flukical. Okay, so Dawson, you said your bold prediction is the Texas TCU game. They're both undefeated, but what's your bold prediction for TCU for the year?
We get back to the Big 12 championship game. Yeah. I think we'll be back there. Probably.
If you go to the Big 12, here's my promise to you. But you might have a hookup and it doesn't matter. But if you go to the Big 12 championship game, I'm buying your ticket.
Yeah.
I'm buying your ticket and your lodging.
He already has sideline passes to that, so. How about you have to go with him?
Yes.
You have to go.
Yes, I'll get your ticket. Yes.
If TCU plays for the Big 12 championship this year, I have to go with you.
Yes.
I love it. And you have to wear TCU stuff.
I'll go full hypnotoad.
I swear. If you bring him to a game before me, I still don't. The only thing I've gotten. The only thing I've gotten from TCU is a fucking sweatshirt. The Heisman quarterback or the Heisman candidate quarterback had to come in to get me it. All big mighty Dawson. I mean, where's the hookup?
I've always offered, if you want to come out to Fort Worth, I can't pay for your flight, but I can get you
That's
tickets.
what it should. Like, I'm worth that. If he wanted to, he would.
Yeah, Jack has been on TCU since
I heard that he's not buying us this year.
No, I think you guys.
Well, why would he? If y'all didn't treat him worth of crap after he did buy you?
Yeah, it's like why even if I think maybe you guys would be good, why even ride with you? I'd rather just find a new bitch.
He's just not that into you.
Yeah, I'm just not if he wanted to, he would.
Just not that into you.
Yeah, I'm just, You have to sometimes be like, I'm not gonna get hurt by this person anymore.
Yeah, you gotta protect yourself at some point.
Yeah, protect your head.
I'll cook something up for you.
It's too late, bro. It's just
that also didn't even sound like you don't even know what it's going to be. I'll think of something.
Yeah, here's a T-shirt.
Here's a T-shirt. Entry-level employee paying for Jack Mac's flight.
No, the fucking school should. The athletics department.
You're going to get a 15-second cameo from Chandler Morris.
Yeah, oh man,
whoever that is.
Chandler Morris, and his 20,000 Instagram followers.
Damn.
All right.
What a ricochet shot for Chandler Morris's followers
I don't
right
even
there.
know how.
So on record, unnecessary roughness record. If I'm going to say it again, so we solidify it. Brandon, you cannot back out of this. If TCU is in the Big 12 championship, and also we need to add in, if we're not anywhere for the college football show that weekend, because that obviously could happen, you will be going with Dawson to the TCU game.
This is unreal. He actually has 20,000 Instagram followers.
Yeah. As a full TCU hypnotoad freak, I will go with Dawson.
And maybe, if TCU and Texas are both undefeated, that's an opportunity too.
I think that's your hot take, your bold take. The TCU Texas game is one of the biggest college football games of the year.
I love it.
And they're both
you
undefeated.
realize what you're saying there. You realize that you've got if that happens, TCU and Texas undefeated, that means TCU has gone on the road and won in Manhattan. They've gone on the
Very
road
hard
and
to
won.
do, yep.
Texas has gone on the road and won in Tuscaloosa. Like, that's a lot that has to happen.
You wanted me to make a fucking
Okay,
bold
all right,
pick.
fair.
There
Fair,
it
fair,
is.
fair.
There it is.
It's true.
Okay.
No, yep.
I love it, Dawson.
Great job as always.
Yeah.
I got another bold pick.
All right, far away.
TCU makes a bowl game. They're not going to lose by 58 points like a shitty-ass junior high team. How
Oh
about that?
my God! When's the last time the Mississippi State?
But we're not
slipped the
talking about the
playoffs?
SEC right now. We're not talking about the SEC right now.
That's fine. The last time, it was a while ago.
All right. Well,
You might have been in middle school.
no, 2014 when we should have made the playoff that year.
Yeah, you really should have. I think y'all would have won the national title if y'all had gotten the playoff. Or you?
No, but you
that's-
can't smile about that. You weren't a TCU guy until
That's the honest
That's
to God
correct.
truth,
That's-
No,
though,
Brandon
that's
does
correct.
believe that. He does believe that.
No, I've said
You
that
actually do
before,
believe
because
that?
TCU
Yes.
had Trevon Boykin.
Oh my
They
God.
beat Ole Miss 42-3.
Yeah.
In a bowl
Peach Bowl.
game.
Yep.
Like TCU and Baylor were real fucking good.
He has said that before, and he was
Yeah.
serious, not just saying
I
that
mean,
to piss you off.
I obviously wasn't following it during that time that closely, but I have rewatched a bunch of the games from that season, and I think they might have been. They were probably like a more talented team than our team last
That
year.
TCU team would have beaten last year's TCU team by 100 points.
That's a lot.
Yeah, well, it's not a flukical.
Look at Cole.
I'm working on it. Okay.
Yeah, workshop's
Dawson,
done.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Dawson.
Good luck to the frogs.
See you guys. Peace.
Bye, Dawson.
All right.
So,
Anything else?
No. So we will preview all of week 1 on
Yep.
Wednesday/Thursday. I don't know when we're releasing it. And also, as everyone knows, we are back to 3 episodes a week. So instant reaction after
Next
this.
week. Next week we are.
No, Saturday of this week.
Oh, I guess that technically.
I mean, yeah, it's dropping Sunday, but we are in week 1, so we will have instant reaction to week 1.
Yeah, whatever. You consider that episode to be part of this week and not next week?
Yeah.
I consider it to be part of next week.
Either way, it's there. It's
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't
It's there.
matter.
You're right.
And the college football show will be back on Saturday. We will be together in Chicago, doing that as well. So it's back, baby.
Football season.
What is today? Monday?
Today is Monday. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you and I we'll record this on Wednesday, and then I'll see you Thursday. Okay, I was just making
Yeah,
sure.
I'm flying
All right.
to Chicago Wednesday, but after we record this.
Got it. Okay. That's your show. That's Unnecessary Roughness.